boys and girls, students of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes, parents, grandparents, and teachers of Buddhist Sunday School. May you all be well and happy. Now, for this lesson, we are going to tell you a Malaysian story, a legend, and it is titled The Princess of Mount Ophir, but better known as Putri Gunung Ledang. You might have heard or even have seen the movie, various versions of this very famous Malaysian legend, Putri Gunung Ledang. So, in English, Gunung Ledang is actually Mount Ophir, and it is a legend. So it's like a myth or a fable. It's a traditional story supposed to be based on history, but there is no proof that it is true. So it's more a myth or a fable, or just, like a fairy tale, you can say. So we are going to look at this story and then see what sort of lessons we can learn from this very famous story. Some of you might have heard it. There are various versions. So this particular version is based on a storybook. I've taken the pages and contents and then made into a PowerPoint and then added in some things. So as usual, we will show you the PowerPoint. Right. Now let us launch the PowerPoint. See the first slide, cover slide. And as I said just now, the word legend would imply just a traditional story, supposed to be historical but not proven, more of myth or a folk tale, you can say, a folk story, traditional folk story. Now, you can see here, all right, birds, this one I added, birds. This one is actually a picture of the main Gunung Ledang. Actually, you have a huge area of this Gunung Ledang area, and we are going to look at the facts first of where is this Gunung Ledang. And these, of course, are drawings, various books, various movies. So people have depicted the picture of this very beautiful princess, the Putri Gunung Ledang. Where is Mount Ophir? Now, Gunung Ledang is actually a mountain in the Gunung Ledang National Park. Now, you know the national park is a very huge area. You have a big portion in Pahang, and it extends also into Johor, and is located in a district known as the Tangkak district in Johor. And the highest point is located between the border of Muar, which is of course in Johor, a town in Johor, and the state of Malacca. And the height is 1,276 meters, and is the 64th highest mountain. Actually, in Malaysia, you have many, many high mountains, particularly in, for example, Sabah, right? You have some in Sarawak and other parts of peninsular Malaysia. Now, here's a beautiful sunset picture of the peak of the Gunung Ledang, right? Now, let's look at the map. Then you have an idea of where the place is. Now, you see, I put in this map. Here you can see the state of Johor, and you know of some towns like Segamat, Muar, and Batu Pahat, and of course the capital is Johor Bahru, nearer Singapore. So this is in the district of Tangkat. Tangkat also a town. So you see, it is bordering onto the state of Malacca, and also I suppose it borders into the state of this Pahang also. So that is the position, right, of Gunung Ledang. And you know, it's a very popular tourist resort, and then tourists, you climb to the hilltop, to the top, the summit of Gunung Ledang. You have ladders to help in the climbing. So they attract, this area attracts a lot of people, young people. And then you have waterfalls where people can go for picnics. Maybe one of these days after the COVID pandemic is over, you all may organize a trip to this area, tourist resort, Gunung Ledang. All right. Now this is just the cover of the book from which I took the story and then also snapped the pictures in the book and then after that I edited and made into a PowerPoint presentation, then to narrate it in English. So let us move on. The story starts. There once was an old hunter named Kalembai. He had a beautiful daughter called Putri Bongsu. They live at the foothills of Pahang, probably very close to the state of Johor. So this man, his job was hunting, hunting for wild animals like maybe squirrels or wild boars or wild hens, pheasants, or maybe wild monkeys also, perhaps. Anyway, very popular would be the tupai, wild boars, and then you kill the animals, sell the meat. So that was his livelihood. So one day, what happened? A fox, Musang, a fox stole all the animals from Kalembai's traps. In order to catch the animals, this hunter would set up the traps. So then, the animals would come and eat the bait. Maybe as I say, squirrels, and some smaller animals, or maybe even some wild boars, depending on how big the trap is. So there were animals trapped inside the trap set by this hunter Kalembai. So he would, of course, come to collect the dead animals already trapped, or some maybe not dead yet. So then he could catch hold of them and kill them and so on. So he was very, very angry because he knew, right, that it was the fox that stole all the animals that he had caught in the trap. So, what he did? He said, I will hunt down this fox who killed, who ate and stole the animals that I had trapped. And then he used the dogs. Dogs are very good in tracking animals. You can even track for drugs, because they have very good sense of smell. So these dogs led to the fox, and Kalembai, of course, he killed the fox. He was very angry. So you see there are two acts which are quite violent, and you can see the impact, right? One, of course, the fox went to take the animals that were trapped by this hunter Kalembai, and maybe the fox also ate some so the fox also killed and then this hunter, of course, also did the wrong thing. Actually, to kill animals, I told you before, that hunting is not a proper livelihood but that's the way people live, right? But you can see very interesting the results that took place, right? So let's see what happened. So angry with the fox, he killed the fox already. Then you know what he did? At dawn. At dawn means just when the sun began to rise, right? Very early maybe 6 something or something like that. The start of the day. So his daughter, Putri Bongsu, the name, helped her father to put the fox on a spit. Now, what is a spit? Now, a spit, I can see in the picture, is a long rod. It could be made of, usually made of iron, right? Because if you make it of wood, then there's a danger that it might get burned when the animal is poked through using the rod, and then like barbecue, roasted over the fire made from the wood or the charcoal or whatever. This is exactly the situation, right? to put the fox on a spit and then to roast it over the fire. And then, of course, they will eat like barbecue meat. The same thing you do for a pig, right? A wild boar, and so on. Horrible way to die, isn't it? So anyway, that's the story. So you know what happened? So while the fox was being roasted on a spit over the fire like this, suddenly the stomach of the fox started to swell. To swell means to grow bigger and bigger like a balloon, you know. Then after that, there was an explosion. It exploded so terribly, you know, very loud explosion like a bomb, you know. So the explosion of the blast from the stomach of the fox was so great, so it threw this Putri Bongsu, the daughter of this of the father, the hunter. All right, remember the Lembai, wow, threw them away, blasted them away, flung them away to a very, very far distance, miles and miles away. Of course, this is told you like a fairy tale, right? But it's very nice to hear, isn't it? Just like you hear Cinderella, right? It's a Malaysian type of folk tale. So, wow, went to the air, everything. Very, very strange, you see. So the fox suffer, and then these two human beings also suffer, right? Probably it's also a karma, right? But anyway, that's the story. But let's see what happens. The story now focuses on this lady Putri Bongsu. It doesn't talk about what happened to the hunter. Probably he might have died also, to be flung, and then if he were to land on a rock, only he might die also, you see. But anyway, let's see what happens. Now the focus is on this Putri Bongsu, the daughter of the hunter. So she was flown great distance, and landed at the foot of this Gunung Ledang lah. And Gunung Ledang, I told you, is in the state of Johor. But I think it was very, very near to Malacca and Pahang also. Anyway, it was like that. Now, during that time, this area of the Gunung Ledang, or you can say Mount Ophir, was ruled by Raja Harimau. Ruled by a very, very fierce, respected animal. That is the Harimau, king of tigers, So very, very big, powerful. He was so big, So big, this king of tigers, Raja Harimau. You know what happened? That he has 7 clumps. Clumps would be like, clusters, right? The clumps of the pandanus shrub, the pandan leaves. You use the pandan leaves, when you want to make cendol or barley and so on. I think you will see the shrub of the pandan leaves, very nice smell and green, longish leaves. So this pandan plant, 7 clusters of them grew on the head of this Harimau. It's like a fairy tale, that's just Cinderella or Snow White and all the stuff. So, very, very interesting. Then, Putri Bongsu, after being thrown such a huge distance, landed on the floor, so she became unconscious. She didn't die, right? So she was founded. The Raja Harimau found her, she was located already by this Raja Harimau. And then she was unconscious for 3 days, So 3 days later, then this Putri Bongsu awoke. Wow, when she saw the Raja Harimau, she had a terrible fright. Very, very terrified, isn't it? To see a Harimau, by then, she was probably in the bed, in the place of this Raja Harimau. Raja Harimau probably got the palace. So she was on the bed, but then she got away. Then the king of tigers, he was quite kind, right? And later on, you see something even very, very strange. The king of tigers told her how he had found her, right? And of course, probably she was quite pretty, right? And the king of the tigers said,
I want you to marry my son, Raja Muda, tonight. Then what to do? The lovely young lady really had no choice because she was saved by the Raja of the tigers. Sorry, the king of the tigers. Isn't it? And if she did not agree, she was also afraid the tiger would get angry and eat it up. So she had no choice but to agree. Right? So let us see what happens next. So the wedding was supposed to be at night. So there was much preparation in that area, the kampung area. Around the area is a kingdom. Actually, it was the kingdom of Mount Ophir, And then when it was dark and she got up from her bed and the bedroom, and then she saw no tiger at all. She saw many people just like herself, and they were all preparing for the wedding. You see, like a kenduri in the Malay kampung, cooking a lot of food for the guests who be coming. Maybe cooking the rendang the chicken there, and then all sorts of delicious food preparing for the wedding. No tigers to be seen. Because also she had learned maybe from her father, there was this place, a magical kingdom, like fantasy land, just as we read some of the fairy tales. So it was the magical kingdom of Mount Ophir. And in this magical kingdom, you know what will happen? The place was stayed by people. But these people could only be human beings at night. Daytime, they would turn into tigers. That's why when she was rescued by the king of tigers, she could see that he was a tiger, isn't it? But then when it was nighttime, she saw that no tigers. Everybody was a human being just like her. A transformation. Very interesting, in my younger days when I was maybe Form 1, Form 2, I also love to see such movies, Chinese movies, Snake Prince, But this time, it was the reverse. Daytime, it will be a handsome young man, the prince, no. But at night, he would transform into a snake already. So you will be living between a human life and a snake. So this one will be human and tiger. You have such stories, not only in Malay mythology, but also in Chinese tales, and you go to European tales, also have this sort of thing, right? So anyway, so that night she was married. And she was very happy that the husband was not a tiger. The husband was a man. And she lived very happily with the husband. Was a very handsome and wise prince. So that was this Putri Bongsu, right? Who also was lucky, right? Let us see what happens next. A few years later already, right? So they were married. A few years later, she gave birth to a daughter, right? And the baby was named Putri Embong. Wow, the baby was so beautiful. So many people of the village would come to see this beautiful baby. And the name was Putri Embong. She was so beautiful that everybody called her Princess of Mount Ophir. Putri Gunung Ledang. That's how you have the name Putri Gunung Ledang, or the Princess of Mount Ophir in English. So when the princess became a woman, which means that she grew up from a baby into a young girl, teenager, and then after that she probably 20-something already became an adult woman. She gained magical powers. Right? It's a magical kingdom, I told you, isn't it? The magical kingdom of Mount Ophir. So she got magic powers. Wherever she went, what would happen? Wow, the fruits, the flowers, birds, and fish would all dance, laugh, and sing just for her, Right? Interesting, isn't it? Of course, here I put leaping fish. This one also I put in. And then these two insects are the dragonflies. In the garden, the magical enchanting garden. And this, of course, you can see is a flying bird. So very beautiful, just like a paradise. Fantastic, beautiful garden, magical, magic like that, right? So let us see what is to come now. By the way, this is a rainbow. Beautiful, isn't it? The rainbow. Very beautiful scenery. Right? Now one day, the Sultan of Malacca, as you know, Malacca are very near this Tangkat. So the magical kingdom of Mount Ophir, very near to Malacca. So the Sultan of Malacca also knew about this area, Mount Ophir. People tell, carry the tales, people who travel up all very near, you see. So one day, this Sultan of Malacca heard about the Princess Embong, how beautiful she was or she is, and that she has magical powers. Wow, this Sultan very excited. That's the Sultan. The Sultan wants to find her. He wants to marry her already. The Sultan, So he say, wow, such a beautiful princess. So what did he do? Immediately he sent out his best warriors, his soldiers, his guards. Just go over to that area from Malacca. Just I show you the map, not very far. From Malacca, cross into the border of Johor, went to this area, Mount Ophir. Right? And to try to find this princess of Mount Ophir, Putri Gunung Ledang. Wow, they have to search for quite some time because it's quite a hidden spot now, right? Magical, maybe sometimes I could not be seen, maybe. So after several years, one of the warriors found the enchanted garden. Now enchanted would be very, very charming, something like bewitching, something magical, like a spell created thing, So enchanted, it can actually like chant you. Chant you means like put you under a spell that you will just be drawn to it. That type of garden more beautiful than the most beautiful garden you ever see on earth. And in this enchanted garden, one of the warriors met with an old lady. You can see the picture here. And this old lady was attended by 4 maidens. Maidens will be young women and like servants, right? So the warrior told the girls, so this warrior here, you can see, the warrior told the girls that his sultan wanted to marry the princess. Then one of the girls said, okay, wait, I will take the message, the request to the princess. The princess probably was staying in the palace. So one of the girls promised to take the royal request to the princess. So this warrior had to wait, right? Had to wait. Then the girl went to see the Princess Embong, right? The princess of Mount Ophir, Putri Gunung Ledang, and then came back with the answer. What was it? And the girl said that the princess was willing to marry the Sultan, but if only the Sultan could do 3 things. First, he must build a bridge made of pure gold from his palace in Malacca to this Putri's place, Mount Ophir. Because no doubt near, but still many, many miles or so. That is the first condition to build a bridge. Wow, made of pure gold. And the second, he must collect 7 trays of the hearts, the hati or the jantung of the mosquito. Nyamuk. Very strange request. Right? And finally, he must offer the princess a bowl of his own blood. Wow, 1 bowl to put his blood inside. But there are other versions of this story where the demands were even greater, 7 or 8, other things also, this thing made of silver, that thing, many things. But this story has this version slashed down to 3 demands. But also very difficult to meet the demands, isn't it? So, of course, again, different versions of the book explain differently. Some say that she wanted to test whether the Sultan will really love her or not. Or others say that she didn't want to marry him. That's why she make it difficult. All these are all interpretations of the story. But anyway, those were the demands. So then the warrior with his friends, that means the warriors, took her message back to the Sultan. Wow, the Sultan, when he heard it, he was dumbfounded. Dumbfounded means greatly shocked, greatly astonished. Ayah, this sort of demands. And he was thinking, the first 2 maybe still can lah. You build a bridge of pure gold from his palace on the, along the road to build a type of a bridge or passageway or whatever lah. And then the second maybe also try to see catch the mosquitoes. The mosquito could find the heart or not. But anyway, but he said, no. The third one to give my blood Ayo, I might die, man. And there was this version like that. What was another version that this Putri Gunung Ledang asked for the blood of the Sultan's son, because the Sultan, can marry many wives, right? So another version said that the Sultan actually had a son by the wife. He already got wife. He wanted this maybe as a second wife or what. So whatever it is, it was a bowl of blood. So this version says, your blood. Say, no lah. This one, I cannot do that. So he said, give up the idea of marrying the princess of Mount Ophir lah. Tak mau kahwin dengan itu Putri Gunung Ledang lah. So tak jadi loh. That's the story lah, right? So what would happen? Let's go on. So the Putri Gunung Ledang did not marry lah, right? And according to this version, since then, nobody ever tried to win the hand of the princess in marriage. That means nobody ever wanted to marry her because they knew she was difficult to make demands. People thought of like that lah, right? And then I suppose also right, that she, like so beautiful princess, maybe proud also lah, right? And now wanted this and wanted that also lah. So this version said that she did not marry. But there was another version that said that later on she married another prince or whatever. There was another version that said like that. But then the marriage was not successful. And then she killed the husband. That was another version of the. You want to read more about the legend of the Putri Gunung Ledang? You can get hold of books. Even internet also you can search and then you can read. Read the different versions of the story, which will be longer, or you can watch the movie also. All right, I will say it's a simple one. So, according to the legend, so she stayed at the kingdom of Mount Ophir, the enchanted place, and then some old people, they would say that on nights, full moon nights full moon night, then the princess would come down from the Mount Ophir. That means the Gunung Ledang. Maybe probably she was staying quite high up on the mountain. She would come down to the river, the river, the Romping River. So now you can see now we still have a place like Mount Ophir or Gunung Ledang. Just now I show you the picture. It's become tourist spot, and there's also the Romping River. So the story went that she would come down to have a bath, in the Romping River. And according to the tale, these old people would tell these tales that whenever she bathed in the Romping River, wow, the place would become a fantastic garden, magical garden, enchanted garden. Enchanted garden where, fantastic things can happen. Right? The birds would sing, and then the fish also maybe could sing, and then the flowers could dance, and all sorts of things, magical. And then the fish of the river, as I said just now, would sing to the moon. And the birds also. Beautiful place. So actually the story of this book ends this way. Later on, you can see different versions will tell different things. But in the end also, of course, the Putri Guna Lendang also had to die. But different versions will tell you how she met her dad. So that's a simple story. So before we go to the most important slide to learn some moral lessons, which might not be completely related to the story, but doesn't matter. There are good morals that I want to discuss with you. But if I just have to do a presentation just based on Dhamma and moral lessons, I think you feel very, very sleepy. In school also ada pendidikan moral talk about nilai-nilai murni So I tell you a story first. And then after that, we try to relate to the story So may you continue to read stories more and more. Just like this girl reading stories more and more, and you find what you can get. Much knowledge and good lessons await you in store. So it's a very good thing if you are able to read. Primary school children, there's so many good story books, fairy tales, Annie Blyton, many, and then comics also. And those who read will become very knowledgeable, very clever, and so on. So now we are going to see the next slide for some lessons of moral education. Right? Okay, ready? So let's go to the next slide. So this final slide is the most important, and I titled it as some good lessons to learn. In every presentation, there are important lessons you can learn. And among the lessons, of course, you have good Dhamma points. So this way, you'll be learning important moral lessons or life lessons, as well as good Dhamma. So let us look at these. All these blank spaces that nothing you know will be filled up, right? With the good lessons that we are supposed to discuss. Just this time, I just put these birds that can tweet, you heard of Twitter, Twitter. So these birds, they can tweet. That means just like a sparrow, right? You can tweet. So let's see what this bird says on something that constitutes a good lesson. And this one didn't come out. After we see the last slide. So now we see this one, second one. Don't break the precept of killing. Such an action will bring dukkha or suffering to oneself and others. I think I've done this sort of thing before. How important it is not to kill. In fact, I've prepared one already, a full lesson on keeping the precepts. But anyway, here this point is about the danger of killing. It's a very, very bad thing to do, because you are killing another sensual being, isn't it? Now let's see whether I can get to the previous slide first. Right? If I get to the previous slide, no, you cannot. This one has a jam here. Tested out, it was okay. Now, after this, we can go back to that one. So, as I said, all living things also value their lives, isn't it? Nobody wants to be killed. Just as you also don't want a robber or murderer to come and kill you, isn't it? So likewise, also other people and also animals also, they will be very fearful if you kill them. So that's why we don't encourage hobbies like fishing or hunting. Hunting is terrible, right? Go and kill the various animals, right? So, and you can see in this story there, killing involved firstly, the man, his livelihood was to hunt for animals, so he will kill many, many animals. And then he met with a terrible happening, probably he died. Explosion of the stomach of the fox, isn't it? And then he was flung so far away, and no news for him already. But his daughter survived.
Because his daughter probably was not directly involved in the killing. She just helped to cook the the dead fox, right, where the other one kill it directly. Anyway, killing. Now let's look at the next one. Do not be conquered by the mental poison of loba or greed. Now, mental poison, another term is defilement. The thing that is very bad in your mind or heart. And the three most dangerous poisons, not actually the chemical, but the defilements, the bad things in the mind, the thoughts, the feelings, or what. The three things are actually greed, hatred, delusion. So this one we focus on the greed. Now, of course, you might think that, well, there is no direct indication in the story about the greed, but you think of it, perhaps that might be when the Putri wanted certain things, especially the gold bridge. I don't know. But then some version will put in some other things that she required. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. The important thing is, remember this point of Dhamma, do not be greedy. Do not desire for this thing, that thing, and so on. Because there will be bad effects or bad results. One of the lessons to come, we will go at length when we talk about these 5 precepts in detail, 1 hour lesson. So anyway, this one is just briefly. Now let's look at the next one. Don't demand for things just to please oneself, especially unreasonable ones. Of course, this Putri Guna Ledang demanded for certain things which were not reasonable, like getting the bowl of blood from that man, the Raja Muda, or one thing, a bridge of gold. But it's just to say that there are people who sometimes make very unreasonable demands. I remember even in Sunday school, there was one case of a problem child. I think it was not in the Sunday school. But I remember I received one phone call once from the mother or grandmother from Langkap or Chicha, saying that she needed help because the granddaughter or the daughter, probably the daughter, Liu Lianqi, demanding this already, demanding for the iPhone. That time, don't know was iPhone 5 or iPhone 6, I don't know. Very expensive, $2,000. She demanded for this. She said, if you don't give me this, I will break this thing, or I will, do terrible things. I know that type of demands, that is terrible, isn't it? Because she wanted to please herself. Maybe want to show other people, you see, I have the latest model of the iPhone. So she demanded for that thing from the mother or the father. So very cannot handle already, So she asked me, I said, well, this one, the Liu Lianqi, I have not that much experience with primary school. So I refer to Brother Liu Wensen Lao Si to handle that case. So you see, even children, if you don't follow Dhamma properly and learn, and then the parents teach, they can make demands, Nowadays also, your secondary students, they demand from the parents, I've got 10 A's, Now I demand this, I want the car, Wow, terrible, So if you don't check these sort of things, you're going to face with dukkha, because you'll never end. You get this really, then after that you want another thing, isn't it? Right? So must be contented. You should count your blessings. We have so many things, Now you see in the pandemic, there are people who don't even have food to eat, man. They have to rely on donations from other people, isn't it? And then some don't have home to stay because they cannot pay the rental, already sacked from the job. So they have to, go around looking for a place to stay, homeless people. So when we think about, we are very blessed. We have homes to stay, food to eat, and then also a TV to watch, computers, all these. There are so many people who are suffering. So never demand for things. In fact, you should try to help, right? So these are very important lessons that we have to learn. So let's look at the next one. This is about good character. People think that most important is to have money lah, to be famous lah, to have talents lah, to go to university and become a professor and so on. Those things you can do, but those are not the most important things. Let us say you have a lot of money and then you are clever, but your character is so terrible. You cheat, you lie, and then you sort of terrible with your speech. You abuse people, scold people, right? Slander, gossip, all these things. One day you will have to pay a price. That sort of thing. So it's character that is very important. That's why you go to Sunday school, you learn Dhamma, is actually to try to have better character, to improve your moral conduct. That's the most important. Don't think that you come to Sunday school, the purpose is to pray only, pray to Buddha, but you don't change your character and you don't have a good conduct, then you have gone wrong already, not practicing the Dhamma, right? And the other thing is living in wise ways. Don't live in stupid ways. I think I told you some example. People who really do stupid things. Marampi, I give you a very classic example. And then, very young, they go and gamble. And then they smoke. Then after that, they will take drugs. And get involved with the taiko and all this. So they are not living wisely. Then they're going to suffer. Right? They may even commit crimes because they want to get money for the drugs. And the police will catch them. They may be jailed. So not only they suffer, but they also bring suffering to the father, mother, and the rest of the family, isn't it? And the family also gets a bad name. So you see, these two things are very important. To have a good character and to live wisely. What do you mean by to live wisely? Live by the Dhamma. The Dhamma teaches you so many good things. Like one example is following the precepts, you see, and then cultivating good things like metta, loving kindness, and then practicing dana. Then you can also learn how to calm your mind by meditation. So you are learning so many good things that are going to help you when you are older. You go to universities and later on you come out to work. But these days you find they are distracted by so many things. They have the iPad lah, and then YouTube and so on, all this. So they don't want to come to Sunday school. They will tell their parents, 哎呀，没有学的什么东西的啦，不要去啦. And some parents just listen to their children say, 不要去啦，不要紧啦. So next time they'll regret it. And then some they think that more important, 不可以啦，有那个 taekwondo 啦，有 karate 啦，有 ballet 啦，有 all this. And then they forget so important is character development and how to live wisely. From young, you have to learn the Dhamma. Isn't it? So it's a very, very sad thing. Last time in the maybe 2000, something like that, we used in the Sunday school to have even 300, 400. Now you have, I don't know, 30, 40 or 50 only. So this is a very good point for you. It might not be connected with the story, right? But then this is a very important thing to convey. This one is my comment. My comment. Of course, I wish you metta, right? When we read and learn very mindfully, knowledge and wisdom will grow certainly. Now you see these 2 points here. Firstly is the reading. Now, some people, they say, I find it very difficult to read for long. You can also listen. Right? Listen to good lesson. Now you have YouTube or maybe you have audio, this and so on. But for young people, no problem. Your eyesight is quite good. So you can read and learn. And when you are reading or learning, very important quality is the mind. The mind must be concentrated, must be mindful, not distracted. If your mind wanders like a monkey running away, then your study is not effective. I've taught for more than 30, 40 years. I found the best students I've taught all have this quality. Their minds can be very, very strong by concentrating, be mindful. So they don't have to study many hours, no. So they have time for sports, they have time to enjoy themselves, sometimes good hobbies and so on. And yet they score all the A's. Why? Very good concentration and mindfulness. Where some others,
hardworking, but they are not doing the right way. They study, put the television or the radio or FM, all this on, and then after that, sometimes really restless already, not concentrating. And with the mindfulness, how can you improve fast? So that's why I give this advice: read, learn very mindfully. Then you find out very fast, wow, your memory so good, can remember exam, can write so easily, And then not only that, because you learn also Dhamma and life lessons, then your wisdom grows, You know what to do, you have a problem, you can think very creatively, I must do this. But nowadays, sad to say, many cannot, right? The problem really, how to solve, they cannot really. Because they don't have the wisdom. This is how it can develop, right? So now I think I have to go back to the slide there. Then you can see the end slide. I miss out one thing. Sometimes this technical thing, nothing is perfect. You can see this, right? This was the one miss out, all right? From a good story, we can learn Dhamma teachings. You see, I have told so many stories in the Sunday school, and also now in every Sunday, there will be a presentation, and many stories have been used. I have used Jataka stories, I have used Dhammapada, I have used also Aesop fables, and now I am using the Malaysian legend. I've used before the legend of Masuri, remember? And also the legend of Batu Kawa. So I have various ways. And then some fables from other countries. So this way, we can learn many useful things, right? So it's from a good story, we can learn Dhamma teachings also. So you see, I have gone over all these 6 points already, all right? So before I conclude, I say sadhu, so I would like to thank all of you. This one, of course, you can say it's a children's story, but actually, secondary students also can read or come to know of this story. And the other important thing is when you read, you find your English improves naturally. But people nowadays so busy running here and there for tuition, and they don't really enjoy the lessons. But you read a beautiful story, so nice to read, and then your English begins to improve. During our days, we never had any tuition. It was reading, reading, a lot of reading, so we can speak, right? And then we can write. And then when people speak, we can understand. So that is what we want. So I hope you consider this reading. In this case here, stories are very nice to read. Many stories you can get from internet. So now, I would like, as I said just now, to thank all of you, boys and girls, students of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes, and then the grandparents and parents, right, who are also teaching the grandchildren, and then of course parents. Parents very important that they teach their children. Some parents they read every night to their children. That is very good, right? And then of course all the teachers who have been very dedicated to teach without any pay, right? The Sunday school for so many years. So this is a very meritorious action. So now let us say sadhu 3 times, right? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. Now, do take care of yourselves.